This video is brought to you by 3, bringing you 4G at no extra cost.
Hey guys, welcome to BTech. Basil here comparing the Sony Xperia Z3 with the Apple iPhone 5S. It probably makes more sense comparing the 5S against the Xperia Z3 Compact, and indeed we will, but it's also worth comparing Sony's flagship against that of Apple's, and that's what we're going to do now, and we're going to kick off by talking about that design. Metal bodies across both. You can see if we pull the iPhone into frame, you've got that very traditional Apple iOS iPhone even styling. Metal chassis, glass front, you've got that really iconic home button right there. On the flip side, metal, blasted metal finish, Apple logo, 8 megapixel rear facing camera, and iPhone with that white base. At the bottom of the iPhone 5S, you've got a grille where you have the speaker, a lightning connector and 3.5mm headphone jack. On the right hand side, you have a SIM slot, a nano SIM slot, while up at the top is a power button. You've also got on the left hand side a volume rocker, volume buttons, and a toggle. On the flip side, like we said, dual flash, true tone flash, so you've got 111 call, 8 megapixel camera, and that is about that for the design. Perfect for anyone with smaller hands. It's an iconic phone. But if you're like me and you're an absolute monster with giant hands, it's definitely a little bit too small with a 4-inch display. If we pull the Sony Xperia Z3 into frame, however, we're talking 5.2 inches here, so 1.2 inches larger. You can see on the front-facing camera, on-screen buttons. You've got stereo speakers on here, which you don't have on the iPhone. On the right-hand side, micro SIM and SD card slot. You've also got a power button, volume rocker, and 2-stage camera button. On the base, no buttons at all. Lanyard connector to the left, magnetic charging connector, and a connector for USB, micro USB connections under a flap. This is waterproof, it is worth saying, and that is exactly why all the buttons and ports are under flaps. All the ports are under flaps, except for the 3.5mm headphone jack, which resides at the top. It's also available in a range of colors, as is the iPhone. The iPhone's available in champagne gold, silver, and white, whereas the Sony Xperia Z3 is available in the traditional Sony colors, which is white, purple, and black, as well as this bronze and a silvery, shimmery green version. You can see on the back you've got a 20.7 megapixel camera, 25mm wide angle lens. You've also got a flash NFC contact point and a Sony logo. Held side by side, they do feel very premium. They do feel like very different devices ultimately, and they are, and that's largely down to size. If Apple does indeed release a larger iPhone, then things will be a lot more even in terms of comparing the two. As far as screens go, both are IPS panels, or IPS tech. That's LCD tech that's really high quality. 640 by 1136 on the iPhone 5S. That gives you a pixel density of 326. You've got a PPI of around 420 odd on the Sony Xperia Z3, so significantly higher, despite the fact it is so much larger. You've got 1 gig of RAM versus 3 gig of RAM, and the processors are very different. A7 processor versus Qualcomm Snapdragon 801, clocked at 2.5 gigahertz. Having said that, iOS is so much more efficient than Android, there probably will be very similar performance in terms of smoothness. As far as user interfaces go, you've got iOS versus Android, like we just said. The Android version on here, customized by Sony, stays very traditional. You've got a variable number of home screens you can pinch out and control. You've got a notifications tray, which doubles up as a quick toggle menu, and you've also got an applications tray as well. Complete with, to the left-hand side of that, an option to organize all your applications. iOS has swipe up from the bottom, you can have some quick toggles, which are annoying because they don't give you a shortcut to any of the settings that they give. They just give you toggles. Swipe down from the top, you've got some notifications and calendar, stocks, etc. It isn't quite as versatile as Android, but the user interface is simpler to get your head around. You also, as you can see, have applications in there organized in folders or single applications standalone, as well as a dock. Double press to activate multitasking and long press to activate Siri, and you've also got that fingerprint scanner, which works a treat. As far as connections go, they're going to be relatively different because you have no NFC on the iPhone 5S. There's no Cat 4 LTE, period. The real other difference that's going to stand out more than anything is that camera. That 8 megapixel camera performs very well, but you can't record 4K video on it, unlike with that of the Sony Xperia Z3. Also, the Sony Xperia Z3 will allow you to stream PlayStation 4 games should you be lucky enough to own a PS4, and it'll do so even if your television is turned off, streaming remotely either to the same Wi-Fi network, whether if you're in the same premises, or indeed if you aren't, you can stream wherever you are, though Sony recommends you adopt the prior scenario. Hopefully you've enjoyed our comparison and found it useful. If you've got any questions about either of the devices, make sure you fire them in the comments section below. If you liked the video, click that like button, and if you like BTech in general, click subscribe. Thanks for watching.